now. Out in the middle of Alaska's interior, west of Denali, there's a lake almost no one has heard of. Carey Lake is remote, empty, and surrounded by miles of dense forest you can barely walk through. In 2020, an outdoorsman named Nathan Campbell was dropped off here. He told his bush pilot he was on an Indiana Jones-style mission to search for the rumored Black Pyramid of Alaska. When I started analyzing the satellite imagery around Carey Lake, I found something most people haven't noticed yet or haven't talked about. A linear clearing or a faint trail running southeast of the lake. It's not a road, it's not a pipeline, it's not seismic work. It's almost certainly a decades-old trapline or sled route. And here's the strange part. It's only a visible corridor of travel leaving Carey Lake. And it leads almost exactly towards the coordinates most associated with the so-called Black Pyramid. Today we're going to trace this forgotten route from the sky, break down what it really is, and explore whether this may be the path Nathan Campbell followed on his final journey. Okay, let's back up a little bit and look at the location, in a bigger picture. Here's Carey Lake where he was flown. Here's where I think his trail ended, where that trail I'm talking about ended, and I think he got there. And here are the locations of the supposed Black Pyramid. This is one, and this is the one that has been available pre-2020, so I think this is the location that he would have been going towards. Or, this is the one from Linda Moulton Howe, and this is the mine shaft location. Anyway, let's go ahead and look right at this path here. And this is when I first was looking here. You can already see it. I mean, it sticks out, right? I haven't seen this mentioned anywhere, not even in any of the reports that I could find. The only thing that was mentioned is, the last his GPS locator was found on the lake, but its last known ping was within 5 miles, and this end location is 3.8 miles or so. The way the crow flies. So let's start to look at this road in a little bit of detail. Sorry if this part is boring. I'm going to switch over to this ArcGIS because this is the one that I found had the best trail, though it's a little bit old. He was out there in 2020. This is from 2014, and you can see the clearing almost all the way till the end. And I kind of get lost doing this sometimes, but we're gonna do it. And so if you go here and you kind of buzz around the lake, nothing stands out until boom, you get this line going through. That's what stood out to me. And when I was first looking at this, it didn't look quite like that. Anyway, you can see it go all the way down here, and it kind of disappears here. But if you just kind of not focus on it, kind of like when you do with the star, it'll kind of pop up, and then here it continues, and it continues. I wanted, maybe this is an old washout. This area has changed, but there, it's been cut at some point. This is not natural. And right here, it gets hard to follow, but it goes down and up. Right here. Getting close to the end, and now it's going to drop down, and you're going to see when I look at this on Google and you use the scale, I mean, this clearing is anywhere from 6 to 10 to 12 feet wide at some points. So this is some kind of old. It's got to be a sled route, like I said, or some kind of trail, sled trail. And right here, it continues on, and you're going to see the best looking part of it. And then, look at that curve. That's not real. And then it ends here, which is over here, this spot. Now, I'm going in my head, and if I was him, obsessed with this location prior to even going out here, if I was looking at this satellite imagery, he had to have found this and chose to go that route. If these were the locations, I can't find any other location. The only other location is up here that I found related to the Black Pyramid. It's this circle, right? But he could have just flown into the airport here. And by the way, I've been to this airport in Flight Simulator. It's huge. It's a big long strip. So he had to have been going down this way, and there's no other way he could have gone. I mean, if you read about this area, apparently this is like thick spruce or very boggy, and can even be, you know, watery with ankle deep at some points, and beavers and bear. So if he was here, he is an outdoorsman, but I mean, if he was analyzing it beforehand, would be his route, and he probably got on some note in his head like, oh, why would this be here? Why would this be here? And I think he's an Alaska native. Maybe he has even more resources about old trap routes, and maybe this isn't one. Maybe this is a mysterious line cut through the forest. I mean, it is interesting. And if you think underground base, and it's a stretch, but maybe they could have drilled into this area underground from somewhere else, and these are, you know, exit locations. You know, this Linda Moulton Howe location could be a emergency exit. I mean, it's right next to a clearing. It's suspicious that this is down here with a road leading down. But again, that's a stretch. I mean, and if you finger this, so say that was his last known ping, was within 5 miles of the lake. And this is what I think, this is where he would have gone. There's nowhere else he could have gone. And if you finger it, if you use your finger to measure this, it's about like a 3-day trip. If he made it there in a day, which I don't know, they haven't released any information about, no GPS coordinates have been released on this case, which is a little bit annoying. You know, they're looking for information, but they don't offer any. Maybe they don't have any. But if they had to have known about this. Or, you know, maybe if you're here and you're on this, it doesn't really stand out unless you had seen it from above, you know. But there is definitely a clearing, and I highly recommend, if you're interested or skeptical, go check this out yourself and look back at the years and watch the trail change. And it's clear some years more than ever, and that might be shadowy satellite imagery, but there's a trail here and it ends right there. And it's in the direction of the supposed Black Pyramid. So, you know, you can, in my mind, this is the connection he made. He scouted out this location. He flew himself in a bush plane to this location with food for months to be prepared. You know, so he had to have scouted this out. He had to have scouted it out. He had to have found this road, and I think that's where he went to see what was down here. Now, what happened to him? Who knows? It's so interesting to me to wonder what happened to this guy. I'd love to go to this location and with experienced people, even I don't know. I'd love to see what this is. Fly over it in a bush plane, see what somebody else thinks from there. You know, I'm sure it's nothing. But you know, the only things they found were like his cracked food bins and his tent, a journal, and his GPS, his inReach, Garmin inReach, and the last time it had pinged was a location within 5 miles of the lake. They said it was about 5 miles away from the lake. That's here, dude. I'm telling you, there's nowhere else he would have went. And I bet you he got here and is like, damn, you know, how do you get across this? Because, you know, this is, I'm measuring it with my finger right now, so 10 meters. That's got to be 30 feet across. There's some kind of crossing right there, probably a down tree. And you can look at other images. There's like a couple of places you could cross, but this has got to be grizzly territory or black bear and I don't know, man. All I know is that if he got that far, he was determined, and to be that determined, he had to be onto something. I wonder what it was. And this other location is kind of interesting too. It's just a weird circle. You know, maybe that is some kind of fire line. It is definitely there. I mean, it is weird. It is weird. And let me know if you want to go over this location. I totally can do an analytical video on this place, though I didn't feel it was necessary. I feel like this is just a small community, but they do have a huge airstrip. I mean, look at the size of the plane, and then look at the size of the airstrip. And maybe that's a lot of these places, so in case there's fire, or, they can land big planes. But holy crap, that's a big strip I mean, and he's even got a pretty wide wingspan. So, you know, look at the size of that plane. Look at what could land here. And it's maintained. Anyway, you know, now I'm getting conspiracy theory. But, you know, this place is interesting as well. Though he wouldn't have headed in that direction, and he wouldn't have flown himself down here to then go back up there. He had to have been going south and had to have found this, at least this one. This is the one that was available prior to 2020. This is the lat long that was available. If this is some troll posting this, I mean, he's probably having a, you know, time of his or her or their life with that. I've sat here and stared at this, and people talk about this clearing right here. This is a noted clearing because it's square, but you know, there's clearings all over. There's clearing right there, right there. I think it's just, I don't know. He had some serious huevos for going out here, number one, and I just hope he, I don't know, just hope he's, you know, it was all peaceful for him. So take a look at this place. Let me know what you think. How cool would it be to see this guy go there? And if you haven't watched or seen The Missing Enigma, I highly recommend it. It's a cool channel to check out. It'd be cool to see him go there and check out this location, see what he thinks. He's got that investigatory mind. Anyway, drop a comment below if you think this is plausible, if you think I'm crazy, if you think this is seismic activity, that, you know, but it looks a little too straight for me to be like that. Let's see if there's anything I missed. Yeah, likely an old trap line. These were common in remote Alaska. They were mostly undocumented. When I look back and I asked the internet about this, there's no fire scars or industrial signature out here. It's narrow and consistent. Younger regrowth along the corridor. These are 1970s to 1990s that these things, oh, and you know, way before that, you know, who knows how far this stuff goes back, but it's reported, it's right within that 5-mile mark of his last known ping other than the lake. And although his last known journal entry was going to get water, so I'm not saying I think this is just where he got and where he decided to turn around, but why he didn't ask for help at that point is weird. Maybe he was planning to go further. Maybe he's got here and noticed how hard it was, needed to go back, get more supplies, recoup, strengthen up to make the 3-day trek over here. Maybe but he would have taken his beacon. Anyway, check the story out yourself. It's pretty interesting. And let me know what you think. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to check out the Discord. And thank you for tuning in. And stay notified and aware of the next one. Thanks.